Not very proud of myself. Look at the state of my sewing room. If you watched my sewing room makeover video, I was very tidy and it's got really messy. I've been doing a few projects. I've made a dress, started a few table mats, that kind of thing. This room does get used for other things such as admin and printing and things like that, but even so there's not really much of an excuse. So I am going to tidy it up before I do anything else and hopefully get it back to something like the state it was in when I first finished painting it. There's a huge incentive to tidy it up because I've got some sewing projects that I've bought the fabric for and I can't start them until I've cleaned up this mess. I've been in here to make one dress and then cleared a space to do it and then had to stop, and now there's just this kind of disorganisation again. But thankfully the bones of it are there because when I did the makeover I did get an awful lot of stuff out and did find a place for most things, so hopefully it won't take too long. So that's a bit of a quick tidy up. It's given me a real psychological boost just to get the surfaces clear. I've got some other tidying up to do over there on the vintage treadle machine. I promised myself I would never use it as a dumping ground, and it has got a cloth over it, but I've just put some things to one side there, like cotton reels and boxes of things that need to be sorted out, but that can wait. Now I'm going to do what I always do whenever I hoover any part of my house, or especially the sewing room, and that is I'm going to spray some of my Thieves Oil spray around, and this keeps insects at bay. Now, we don't have any poisonous insects in the UK, but I don't like some of them. I'm not going to say the word. Don't even like the word, but they have 8 legs. Ooh. So if you hoover this, if you spray this after you've hoovered, hoover right into the corners and spray this, believe it or not, they don't like the smell of it and they go somewhere else. I don't like to think about where else they go, but I don't see them, that's the point. And this is a very old house with lots of cracks and beams and open floorboards and all the rest of it. And I used to see them all over the house and was absolutely terrified. So I read somewhere that you can use essential oils to discourage them, and I was amazed. I didn't think there was anything I could do. I discovered this a few years ago. So I'll put a link in the description to the video I made on how to make this. It's basically a concoction of essential oils such as clove buds, eucalyptus, strong smelling oils which you dilute with water and spray into the corners. Now in my house it's bare wood, so there's no highly polished surfaces to get spoiled by the essential oils or anything like that. But you'd have to be careful if you do have that in your house. You've also got to be sure about any contraindications for any of the oils, because there's quite a concoction of oils in there, all natural, but quite a concoction. So, and some animals or perhaps vulnerable people might not want them near them. So we don't have any problems like that in this house, and I find this works. I really do. So that's going to be sprayed around now into the corners. So at last, I do a bit of sewing without feeling incredibly guilty. So I'll just show you what I've got going here on the table. I've put away my work in progress. I've got 2 projects. One is to make some table mats, and one is finishing off an apron pattern, a PDF for my Etsy page, which I've had sitting on top of the piano for about 3 months. I've put them away because I will be doing those, but I'm not doing them today. So I'll show you the new fabric I bought. So the first one is a jersey polka dot. Now I absolutely love polka dots, but it's amazing. I don't know what it is like in your country, but in the UK, for some reason, everybody thinks if you want polka dots, you want blue and white or black and white. And you never ever see brown and white, or brown and cream as this is. And I never wear blue, and I don't even own a single item of blue clothing. I just don't wear blue. And you do get sick of black. And I happen to suit brown and I like it. So I was looking for something else and this came up on a fabric website. And so I bought everything they had left, which was about 4 meters of fabric. Now I think I'm going to make myself a jersey dress for the autumn. I don't really want to think about the autumn yet, but it's August now in the UK, and I've even already noticed that the temperature is going down a little bit. We've had some fantastic weather, but I think that's probably it for us now. We'll probably have an Indian summer like we normally do, which means that we will get some really nice, pleasantly warm, very sunny days in the autumn. But if this winter's like anything like last winter, it'll be pretty cold. So I'm probably going to make a jersey dress, long sleeve dress with this fabric. And I'm thinking I might probably have enough left over for a pair of leggings as well, or stretch trousers as well. So that's what that's going to be used for. So the next ones, tell me what you think of these. Now that is, in the UK we call this winceyette. It's brushed cotton. So you might call it flannelette or flannel. It's basically plain brushed cotton. And I think I'm right in saying that in our country, when it's referred to as winceyette, it's for making something to wear. So winceyette pyjamas or a winceyette night dress. I don't know where that name comes from, but it is always how that I always used to call this fabric, but now people seem to call it brush cotton. And then I also got this double gauze, which I think goes with it, and I just think that's so pretty. So with this, I'm going to be making some burp cloths. I'm going to do this next. I'm going to shelve my other projects and I'm going to do this next, and I might start the dress. When I was shopping for this fabric, went in specifically for it to my local fabric shop, I walked past this and I just love this fabric. It's a rayon, like a viscose, and it's lovely and cool. And I'll just show you the dress that I have made with it. Here is the dress. I absolutely love this fabric. I love everything about it. I love the colours, I love the flowers, I love what it's made from. It's a drapey viscose rayon. Now I'm afraid I can't remember the manufacturer. I should have checked, but the particular shop I go to stocks eco fabrics, and rayon and viscose used to have a bad name because it was a very environmentally harsh fabric to make. So it's made from wool pulp. You might know this already, but if you don't know, it's made from wool pulp, but it's a manufactured process to actually turn it into a fabric, and it used to be quite, I think, a toxic process, but that's now being improved. And I love viscose because it has a lovely drape, it's very, very comfortable, and it's very easy to sew with. So that's the fabric. I needed about, I think it was 1.5 meters to make the top I was thinking of, which is another Tesutti fabrics pattern called the Kate top. And it's actually quite similar to this in that it's short sleeve like this with bound edges. And I've made a few, and I've made it with this kind of material, and it's great for working for work. So I wear it with a pair of black trousers and a black cardi, and it's just comfy, modest outfit to wear. So I thought, oh, I might another top with it. But then when she unravelled the bolt, there was, I think, 2 and a bit meters on the roll. She said, oh, I'll just give you the rest because it's such a small amount left that we won't be able to use it. So she gave me the whole thing. When I got home, I thought, I'll make a dress with it then. So I started looking at what I had, and I ended up buying another Tesutti fabrics pattern, and that is this one. It's the Alessi Dress. On this picture, they're quite plain fabrics that it's been used with, but you can possibly see by the check one that it is a dress that's cut on the bias. So that makes it very easy to make because there's very little shaping, there's darts in the back. Personally, I think it's quite flattering. You know, I'm a middle-aged woman, this sort of UK size 12, plus a little bit more than that, I think. And I'm actually very pleased. It's very, very comfortable. I'm going to be wearing this to a veteran's lunch tomorrow. So I'm going to be teaming it with, just so you know, this little cardi. I've actually also ordered a pink one like this, but hasn't arrived yet, so I'll be wearing this one. And it's the kind of dress that you can do that with, and I think this is great. So, and it's very comfortable and quite good for something like a lunch or whatever. So, so just to say, and Tesutti Fabrics won't like me saying this, but I often simplify their patterns when I make them. I think their patterns are great. I've probably got about 6, and I've made several versions of each one that I've had. So if you do buy this pattern, I've got no link with them at all, just to say that. If you do buy this pattern, it looks quite complex because they use something called tearaway violin as a shield for the cut edges. Now, I actually don't use it. If you're a beginner sewer, then I'm not recommending that you do this, but you might know that when you cut things on a curve or cut them on a bias, that you make the fabric vulnerable because you're on this, it will stretch out of shape. Now, once you've sewn the edges, it doesn't matter. You might know this already, but just in case you don't. So you need to protect the edge so that you don't pull the fabric all out of shape. And because it's cut on the bias, that's why it drapes, so you don't have to have a lot of fitting, shaping or whatever. So I don't do that. I just sew the edges. So in the pattern, it tells you to cut out all the violin shield, and then sew it to the edges as a protection while you're making the garment. I just sewed a line within the seam allowance. I didn't use any I didn't use any violin shield, and I didn't use anything like a interface either. I just was very, very careful how I handled the fabric. If you look at the pieces on the pattern, there's probably about, lost count. There's several. There's the front neck, the back, the front arm, and all the rest of it. Too much detail for me, I'm afraid. So it's basically two pieces. It's the front and the back. The difference is the curve of the neck and the fact that there's darts in the back. That's very easy. And the way the edges are finished is they're just bound. So on the pattern, it will show you how wide to cut the binding, which you cut from the fabric, and it's also cut on the bias, and it shows you how to do that. And once you've mastered how to do the binding, quite a lot of their patterns are like that. It becomes quite easy, and it becomes an easy make. So that's my Friday sews. I will be making another one of these as soon as I can find a fabric that I like as much as this one. This is very easy to wear. Chuck it on, dress it up, dress it down, and I just love it.